Live at the White House for us. Let's bring the panel in. NewsNation political contributor, Democratic strategist Kurt Bardella joins us this afternoon, as does Tony Kinnett. Tony, national correspondent with the Daily Signal. You know, in addition to the major averages, worst day since 2020 for the stock market, essentially today on the tablet, we have just go through some American companies that lost a good share of their value today, whether it's big banks like JP Morgan and the percentage drop there 6%, or Citigroup at 8% in the trading day today. The auto stocks, of course, are going to be down. Ford and Elon Musk's company. There's the Tesla stock chart, which hasn't been pretty recently at all, and another drop today. Tony, what would you say? As Roberts is the administration, the president on down have been consistent, saying we're sticking with this, and long term it's going to be just okay. And I think the president said the market's going to boom. What's your reaction today?
I think that tariffs are really only useful as an economic lever for foreign policy. When you're going to maneuver another country into like Colombia, or like with Panama, with breaking its deal with the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, or Colombia taking back its own illegal immigrants, I think that it's a very effective tool. The problem is that when you are negotiating in a foreign policy strategy, the rule is not to show your cards. Well, if everyone knows that the tariffs are going to be temporary right off the crack of the bat, then you can say we just got to ride this out and it will be okay. Foreign policy and mass economic policy don't mix. And it's a catch-22 when you couple that with the president's long-term fascination and love with tariffs,
yes,
all the way back to, you know, his videos since the 80s. It's a really rough and weird situation. And so I think that what a lot of people are wondering is how much of this is a national policy, kind of a foreign negotiation move, like India and Israel dropping their tariffs with the U.S., and how much of it is Trump's love for tariffs? Well, I wish I knew the answer.
A lot of it, I think, is his love for tariffs, I think, because we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that, you know, in his first administration, he had a number of people surrounding him in the White House and other places, but particularly the White House, like a Gary Cohn, who's worked at Goldman Sachs, who would talk him out of these policies, or would say that we shouldn't be as aggressive. Not as much this time around. This is what he really thinks. And when other Republicans, we played Rand Paul a moment ago, say something, it doesn't seem to matter as much. We had Senator Ron Johnson on our program last hour. Here's what Senator Johnson, who's a free trader himself, although he agrees with the president just about everything else, had to say. We have this, the clip from Rand Paul that I played a moment ago. He was saying this, and I think we have the clip. Do we have the clip from Johnson yet? So anyway, the point, Kurt, we'll play this in a second, is that, you know, Johnson came on and said, you agree with the president on just about everything. Yeah, but this tariff thing, he was making points very, very similar to Tony, that it's okay if you're negotiating. I want fair trade. But you're going across the board like this. Republicans have issues with it. It's just a question of whether they're willing to say so.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're about to find out what the threshold is for the tolerance of pain that Republicans are about to experience from their own constituencies, from the small business owners in their district. A lot of the folks who got hit by this stock market drop today are big Republican donors. And so they're going to be looking around at their congressman, their senator, their governor going, is this what we paid for when we, you know, this was not the promise, by the way, that Donald Trump, the Republican Party, told the American people during the election. They said we will have immediate relief from inflation, immediate economic boon, that the struggles during Biden would go away overnight. That is the expectation that Donald Trump set himself over and over and over again. If he had campaigned on, listen, it's going to be tough. There's going to be some pain. There's going to be some uncertainty, but it will turn out, that would have been a very different conversation. But I also know that folks love hearing the word uncertainty a lot when talking about economic policy. I know that stock traders and markets love hearing that word coming out of the administration's mouth. It's like you're saying very publicly, there's uncertainty. So you don't know how this is going to actually end. And everything else that you're saying and pronouncing is magical thinking.
Yeah, and I think it goes further than just the big donors that you speak of, or even the traders that work on Wall Street that you speak of, and gets down, Tony, to the people who put President Trump in office, the working class Americans who have pensions and 401k plans and all the rest, that this is the worst start now to a presidency for the stock market, I believe, since George W. Bush in '01, and that was right after the tech bubble burst. So a lot of people are losing a lot of money on paper. Does the president change course in any ways? No signal of that yet.
Oh, I mean, those are two really good points and a great question. I'll answer the question first, and I want to go back to what you said beforehand. I do think that he will change if the market shows a negative amount of performance over a series of a couple of months. I think he will walk those back. Trump is above all things a pragmatist when it comes to, in an ego sense, approval rating, and also because he wants his administration to be seen as a success. We saw this in foreign policy in the first administration. We saw this on domestic policy in the first administration. To what you said first, though, on who put him into office, It's the auto unions that were part of the Trump coalition in this election, the large 90s labor Democrat voting base that is not just in favor. They are in love with these tariffs.
Yeah,
that's
the
a voting
rank and
bloc everyone's
file
ignoring.
auto worker. No, that's a fair point. The rank and file auto workers, we saw many of them or some of them in the Rose Garden yesterday, Kurt. They do like it. And yeah, they may not like their 401k plans going down like anyone.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
But they do like the policy. And that's kind of an interesting thing. But the same question, I think, applies to them like it will to everybody else. If the market keeps getting hit like this, and the overall economy goes into recession, will they still like it, Kurt?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to like paying more for goods and services. I don't think they're like paying more at the grocery store, more at Walmart, more at Target. I don't think they're like paying more for things that a month ago they weren't paying as much for. And that's ultimately the barometer for everything. We've always said that these are the measure of a president and the economy is how people feel in their own families, in their own economic situation. If prices go down, if gas prices go down, if the cost of goods and services and food goes down, people assume the economy is doing pretty good.
Right.
If it goes up, they assume it's going pretty bad. Like that's just how it works. It's hard to see from where we are right now to where we're going to end up. That was my dog shaking the camera running
You got
around.
a lot going on today, man.
There's a lot going on today. It's hard to see how you go from where we are right now to this vision that Donald Trump is painting that everything's going to be great, the economy's going to be booming, and everyone's going to be having massive profits in their bank accounts.
All right. It's not the only thing happening today, though. I mean, it is all-consuming, especially when the stock market closes like this. Let me get you guys on one other topic politically, and then we'll take a break. So this was interesting. It's New York City, but this has been a big story around the country. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, is going to run for re-election, but not as a Democrat. Kurt, go to you first as the Democrat on the panel here. He's doing it as an independent, so he's going to see who wins the primary and then try to take them on as an independent. Seems like a tall order to me, but, we'll see. Mike Bloomberg was technically first a Democrat, then a Republican, then an independent, so it's been done.
Sounds like a guy who knows he couldn't win a Democratic primary if his life depended on it, so this is the only way he can make sure he's on the ballot in the general election.
You have any thoughts on, Tony, the New York City politics and Eric Adams? He got off the hook on the legal side yesterday, and now he's going to run as an independent.
Until I see some actual policies that benefit New Yorkers by reducing some of the hyper-regulation and the inclusion of really pro-crime policies, letting people off the hook in violent crime situations, the prosecutor letting them out early. I don't really think that it matters who the candidate is. I think that New Yorkers need decent proposals, not somebody switching the party they're running for.
All right, Tony, thank you. Good stuff from you. Kurt, feel better, okay? And best to your dog. Have a great day the rest of the afternoon. That was very
There's
eventful.
a lot going on here in Dallas today.
I thought you handled it. You handled it perfectly. Very, very smooth. All right. Okay, we have more stories.